Hello kids, it's me again, back with another video. Usually I try not to make videos without neat conclusions or resolutions or answers. I've been wanting to make a video about this for some time now, but I didn't really know how to frame it because the story doesn't really have an end. But sometimes stories about real things don't have neat conclusions. Sometimes they just end. Today, I'm going to tell the story of how a small metal band from Vicksburg, Mississippi, getting caught in a tornado over a decade ago led me down a path of grief and discovery. I always forget to do this in the beginning of videos, so like and subscribe and leave a comment and all that, please. Thank you. The year is 2023. The month is July. The day is Wednesday the 19th. I am sitting at my desk at work looking for tornado footage. I work at a local news station and was tasked with finding footage of a tornado touching down for a commercial I was working on. At this local news station, we have a digital archive of just about every story we've aired from roughly 2007 until now. Despite that, I could not for the life of me find decent footage of a tornado touching down. But I did find something else, a news story from 2010. On April 24th, 2010, one Saturday, 13 years ago, a rather violent long-track EF4 tornado touched down approximately 5 miles west of Tallulah, Louisiana, and traveled 149 miles, or close to 240 kilometers, northwest across state lines, stopping 5.5 miles north of Sturgis, Mississippi. And I'm only able to tell you all of this because this particular tornado was so notable, the National Weather Service has an entire page dedicated to it. Listen, I'm not a tornado enthusiast. In fact, I have a fear of natural disasters, so maybe they have pages dedicated to every tornado. I don't know. But shout out to all my tornado heads out there. You guys are probably having a blast listening to all of this. At some point, this tornado, having reached EF4 intensity, crosses I-55 in Holmes County, Mississippi, right about here, roughly 50 or so miles, or 80 kilometers, north of Jackson, tossing vehicles clear off the road. According to the National Weather Service, 10 people died in this tornado's path of destruction, and 146 people were injured. Of those 146 were the members of the band Burning Windsor. Burning Windsor was a metal band from Vicksburg, Mississippi, made up of members Dustin Thomas on guitar and vocals, Meredith Spencer on bass and vocals, Ben Williams on guitar and vocals, however it seems he was replaced with Zach Case sometime after 2009, and Nate Wright on drums. You might think their name comes from the time Windsor Castle caught on fire in 1992, because that's what primarily came up for me when I googled the band for the first time. But no, in Vicksburg, there are some pretty famous ruins of the largest plantation house built in the state that was destroyed in a fire in 1890. All that remains of the Windsor plantation house are 23 Greek revival-style columns and a cast-iron staircase that is now the entrance to Oakland Chapel at Alcorn State University, which honestly kinda slays. Part of the plantation house was repurposed to create a building used to educate recently freed Black people. It's giving poetic justice. But I digress. The story goes that the group was headed to a gig at the New Daisy Theater in Memphis, Tennessee that was to be held that night. As they were traveling along I-55 North in Holmes County, the skies grew darker. The winds and the rain intensified. Eventually, they pulled up alongside a stopped 18-wheeler that had a tree fallen onto it for some shelter. This was a tiny upstart band. There was no tour bus, just a Jeep that carried them and all of their gear and merch. Soon, the tornado passed right over them, tossing their Jeep 30 yards off the road. Miraculously, they all survived, with just some injuries, despite their Jeep getting totaled and all their instruments and merch being lost as well. And even more miraculously, they were able to capture it all on cell phone video, which for 2010 is pretty impressive. And even more miraculously, 13 years later, the video is still on YouTube. It's only 36 seconds long, and I'm gonna play it for you all, but fair warning, the video is genuinely distressing.
Oh, fuck! Oh, shit. Watch those windows! Fuck! Oh, shit! We're going. Hey, stay right here. I am. Watch those windows.
What I think is the most impressive thing about all of this is that they made it to Memphis. They had to play on borrowed instruments, but despite all odds, they made it. Got caught in a tornado, still made it to the gig. If that's not metal, I don't know what is. I would share with you all the news footage, but I'm pretty sure I'm definitely not authorized to do that. However, someone recorded a segment on their Android phone and uploaded it to YouTube back in 2010, so if you want to watch it, I'll leave a link down below. After seeing the news segment, I can't really explain how exactly because I never heard of them before, but I had a feeling this must have been a metal or metal adjacent band. Their name and overall aesthetic pointed towards that being the case. So I got to Googling, momentarily foregoing the project I was supposed to be working on. And by the way, no, I still couldn't use that footage because, it was from 13 years ago. Kinda old for a promo, but also at the same time not really. Maybe I could have used it. I don't know. Anyway, it's a bit too late to think about that now. Truthfully, I didn't find much. One of the reasons I was unsure if making this video would even be worth it was because there really is very little information about this band that can be easily found online. Even though some people, myself included, like to say the internet is forever, it unfortunately isn't. Sometimes people delete things or lose hard drives or servers crash, and if you spent any amount of time trying to track down old obscure websites, you'll know that the web archive doesn't archive everything. Burning Windsor did have a MySpace page, like all bands did back then, but some unfortunate soul over at MySpace HQ accidentally deleted 12 years of internet history back in 2018, and while there have been efforts to recover what was lost, it looks like Burning Windsor was caught up in all that. Their MySpace link is still live, but nothing remains except for the track list of their 2008 debut EP, From the Ashes. The songs are no longer playable. There is one web archive snapshot of it from December 2008, but it contains lots of Flash elements that no longer work. They have a Facebook page, which has only a handful of posts from 2011 and some pictures. There are some YouTube links scattered around, like the tornado footage and the news report of the tornado footage, plus a couple of vlogs from that time as well. One of the vlogs documents the filming of a music video, but that music video is no longer available on YouTube. I wasn't even able to find out when the band was formed. One thing I was able to find that is actually preserved was a page for the band on the website Reverb Nation. There, you can actually listen to 4 songs from their debut EP, with the other 3 only available on MySpace and, as a result, were lost in the purge. You can also find 2 videos, the now privated music video for You'll Crowd in the Darkness, and a show vlog, 3 Facebook links, 4 past performances in 2011 and 2010, and a still alive Big Cartel shop selling a CD, a t-shirt that honestly goes kind of hard and that I genuinely want, and a poster. Side note, although it is somehow still alive, I'm going to advise anyone watching to not try to buy anything, because the likely outcome will be that your money goes into a black hole, never to be seen again. But I do really want that shirt. After that tornado, the band continued to play gigs around the South, but after 2011, the trail goes cold, and I can only assume they broke up sometime in 2011 or 2012. That evening, when I got home from work, I did even more Googling to try to track down the members to see if they were still making music, and aside from one whose online footprint went cold in 2020, I was unable to find really anything. Burning Windsor, it seems, is but a blip on the greater musical landscape, releasing 1 EP in 2008, getting caught in a tornado in 2010, and falling off the face of the earth in 2011. So, at my desk 3 months ago, I pressed play and listened to the available songs on Reverb Nation, and I was instantly hooked. As I listened to these 4 songs, I felt a mix of emotion. First was whatever the emotion is that you feel when you listen to music you like. I don't know if there's a name for it. Joy, maybe. And then sadness. And finally, grief. Loss. At this point, you might be thinking, alright, what gives? Why is a little band from Mississippi causing all of that? Well, I suppose it's time to talk about myself a little. On both of my podcasts, which you should be listening to, and on Twitter, which, if you aren't following me on Twitter, you're only getting half the story. I've talked about the music I like quite a bit, but not on this channel. In fact, I only have 2 videos that are directly about music or musicians I like, 3 if you count the Death Grips one, versus the bajillion Sims videos and streams that I have. I am a metalhead. I like metal music. I've been to quite a few shows this year, and I always have a blast when I go, but music for me has always been something that I have always experienced alone. For a while, anytime anyone would ask me what kind of music I listened to, my fight or flight response would kick in. Do I tell the truth and get weird looks, or do I say, oh, just anything? One instance that really sticks out to me was when I was a junior or senior in high school. I got the dreaded question, and this time, I decided to be truthful. At the time, I had started listening to Asking Alexandria's album Reckless and Relentless, a banger album, might I add, and so I told the guy I was talking to look up the song A Lesson Never Learned. And he did, and began listening to it. And his expression morphed from neutral to completely disgusted, as he remarked to the other person in the conversation, she listens to that rah music. They listened to the song and got the same disgusted expression on their face. I played it off at the time, but it stuck with me for a while. I mean, the fact that I still remember what song was played and his exact quote verbatim should tell you that. Another time, when I was a senior, I was talking to my crush at the time in class, and we swapped songs to listen to. I think he played a Migos song for me, while I played him the song Show 'Em the Ropes by A Day to Remember. Again, another banger. He snatched my headphones out of his ears after the first few seconds and laughed. All that to say, I did not have very many positive interactions with my peers about music when I was young, and outside of going to shows now as an adult and meeting other metalheads, I have known personally 2 entire people who listen to the same genre of music I did. 2. And I met the second one 7 months ago. It's a really isolating feeling being so passionate about something and not having anyone to share it with. I wouldn't consider myself just a casual enjoyer of music either. At the risk of sounding a tad cringe, I genuinely think whatever happens in your brain when you do stimulants is adjacent to whatever happens in my brain when I listen to my favorite music. Why try meth when I could just listen to Soul by Invent Animate on repeat and get the same effect? Probably. Like, just imagine being really into something, having no one to talk to about it, and being made to feel like a weirdo for even liking this completely normal thing. And at the time, I was constantly losing the Negro Olympics because my peers determined I wasn't black enough for a number of things, and liking quote-unquote white people music certainly wasn't helping that perception. Another thing is that I am from the South. Not a lot of widely known metal comes from here. In fact, name a metal band from Mississippi, I dare you. No, seriously, if you know any metal bands from Mississippi, put it in the comments below because I want to discover some new bands. Alabama, my home state, fares a little bit better. We have Era, who I've seen I think 3 times now, Gideon, Maylene, and the Sons of Disaster, although I will say their music sounds a little too close to country for me to get into. But aside from those, I didn't really know of any musicians making the music I liked in the places I have resided. And to top it off, now that I am in my concert-going era, it's becoming painfully obvious how much whoever is scheduling these shows is allergic to the Deep South. Like, on one hand, I get it, but on the other, there are still fans here. We would show up, throw down in the pit, and buy a t-shirt after. It's like these labels, or whoever plans these shows, thinks one night at the Masquerade in Atlanta and one night in Dallas or Austin or Houston will suffice for the entire southern United States. And yeah, other parts of the country probably also get routinely shafted by tours, but it stings extra hard for me because every time I look at the list of stops for a tour I want to see and am met with that requisite Atlanta date taunting me, I hear Hide and Seek by Imogen Heap in my head because it's so close, it's so far away. One thing that intensified this feeling was looking at Burning Windsor's past performances that are on Reverb Nation. There's the New Daisy Theater, which is still open in Memphis, Little Big Store, a record store in Raymond, which is about 15 miles or 23 kilometers west of Jackson, and still open, T-Bones, a combo record store and cafe in Hattiesburg that is also still open. And finally, Good Time Charlie's, a club or bar of some sort in Tupelo, which closed at some point in the last 6 or so years. As I was looking up this venue, I found a website called Concert Archives, which is exactly what it says on the tin. An archive, though incomplete, of shows played at Good Time Charlie's. And let me tell you, my flabbers were sufficiently gasted when I saw the list of bands that performed there in the mid-2010s. Oh, Sleeper, Ice Nine Kills, Icy Stars in their prime, just to name a few. That meant that not that long ago, Mississippi had its own Masquerade, the venue where every metal band and their mama made a stop at. But now it's gone. So close, yet so far. And let me tell you, learning that made me genuinely sad. In fact, I think I cried a little. I always knew on some level that there was a community of metalheads in Mississippi. We are everywhere, after all. But it's almost as if sometime long ago, God struck down our Tower of Babel and scattered us. making us speak different languages and become unable to find one another. Although we are in the internet age, it's kind of hard for me to find people interested in the same things as me that are also living close by. Maybe I'm not trying hard enough, I don't know. I know these people are out there, I just don't know where to find them, where they congregate, the music they make. And then, once again on accident, I found my answer. One day, I was browsing Nextdoor because I like to know what the boomers are up to, and someone asked about a place in their neighborhood that always had a lot of people there for some reason. Someone responded that that place was Urban Fox's, a bakery that doubles as a music venue. So, I went to the website to have a look at their upcoming events, and the names of the groups stuck out to me, sounding once again metal or metal adjacent. And I saw that one of the upcoming gigs was listed as Good Gigs Jackson Presents. And so, the Googling commenced. I didn't have to look very hard, thankfully, and I found the concert promoter Good Gigs Jackson, which books and promotes a wide variety of bands, some from Jackson, some from elsewhere in the state, some from out of state, and some from other countries, ranging from indie synthwave to honest-to-goodness hardcore and punk. I finally found what I was looking for. So, wasting no time, I bought a ticket to see Final Gasp back in July, and, well, the rest is history. I've only been to 2 shows so far, but there are always more coming up, so I'll probably find myself at more. And in those 2 shows alone, I've heard some great local and national talent, met some really nice people, and just, for lack of a better term, have had my spirit invigorated. Oh, and I got this dope shirt. Now, would I have found out about this particular promoter without learning about Burning Windsor and their tornado encounter? Probably. After all, I've been yearning for a local community like this for a long time, but it somehow feels poetic that all this happened within the span of less than a month. Like I said in the beginning, this doesn't really have a neat conclusion or resolution to be made. The creation, lifespan, and end of Burning Windsor remains a mystery to me, as do the lives of its members. Parts of their history could be considered lost media. I tried searching Lost MySpace to find the other tracks on From the Ashes, but the search feature isn't great. Searching for the band's name or song titles yields hundreds of unrelated results. For Burning Windsor, the internet was not forever. If by some miracle one of the members of Burning Windsor is watching this, first of all, I want one of those shirts. I'll pay for it. Secondly, I just want to know what happened. I know the answer is likely just loss of interest and moving on, but that story still deserves to be told. I only found out about this band long after it disbanded, but I still care about it. Mississippi music is more than just blues and jazz and country. I know there is a diverse group of musicians of all genres from right here in the Magnolia State, and I think the world deserves to know as well. Thankfully, the Reverb Nation page is still up and running, and those 4 songs can be heard by the masses. And to be completely honest, I think Burning Windsor's sound could have had wide appeal. Listen for yourself sometime. It's very reminiscent of early 2000s metalcore. In fact, to end this video, I'm going to play for you my favorite Burning Windsor song. Before I do that though, follow me on Twitter, read my Medium articles, and listen to my podcast. And now, without further ado, here is Live to Regret by Burning Windsor. Thanks for watching.
How's it going? We're Burning Windsor. Sometimes I feel